Hey guys, it's me once again. It's been a while. Sorry about that. Um, I honestly, I have no excuse. I'm just lazy. I've gotten some things, not a whole lot. From a birthday, I did receive. If you're on Facebook, you know that I got this, the Becoming the Beach Boys collection. And if you look behind me, there's the I Just Wasn't Made for These Times album on vinyl my father in law got me. So there's a few things. I still haven't got either Mike or Brian's autobiography. Um, to be completely honest, I don't play. I'm not a Mike Love hater, but I'm not like that's all I want to see is Mike Love's band or you know, but I love Brian, but I honestly want to read Mike's a little bit more. Um, Not that Brian's won't be interesting. It's just I just don't know how the editing is going to go with Melinda. I don't have anything against her. It's just I feel like she kind of cleans things up. So I don't know. I that's just my opinion that I feel like and it may be in Brian's best interest, but uh, again, I get off topic. Um, so this time around, I've had some people subscribe since last time, which last time I think was probably back in May, April. I got married in May. I'm not wearing my wedding ring. That looks terrible. Um, it was last spring. So uh, I'd been listening to some stuff, related stuff, which I love to listen to. And I thought, man, I want to talk about this stuff. I know I come on, I'm like, hey, I got this, and I got this, and I got this. But I want to talk about it. I want to review it. So, first off, I want to do You'll Never Hear Surf Music Again by Adam Marsland's Chaos Band. So, I got this a while ago, and this is just a copy I have. I have another one he signed and all that because I'm a geek like that. And here's kind of the set list if you can read that. So, this was recorded in December of 2013. Adam and his band did a 50 Sides of Beach Boys show, little tour thing, and I can't remember how many shows he did. Excuse me, but he did so many songs. I mean, it's 50 sides, and that's pretty impressive. And I just knowing that, how Adam is, knowing the live Dennis and Carl tribute that he did, it's like he's going to get some hardcore tunes in there, and it's going to be awesome. And so I bought this back when he came to Bloomington a while back. So this has, I want to say it's about 32 tracks. So it's not the whole thing. It's 2 discs, and it has 2 new studio songs, um, which I really enjoy. I enjoyed Pet Squares. It starts out on disc 2. I enjoyed that when I got the set a lot, and um, it's very Pet Soundsy, obviously by the title. It reminds me of In My Moon Dreams that Brian Wilson did with Andy Paley. Now, whether that's more Brian than or more Andy than Brian, I don't know. But it's wordless vocals and just more of an instrumental. It's really cool though. Very, very Brian inspired. And then disc 1 starts out with Sunset Over the Water. And lately I've been getting into it. Adam did this awesome thing of the riff, and I was just thinking about how Brian loves riffs, and it made me love riffs more so of Brian's love for riffs because Brian never lets a good thing go. Like I was just listening to Sharon Marie's Think About My Baby. And he did that way before Darlin'. And he obviously had something in him that was like, this tune is great. I want to turn it into an R&B thing instead of this slow girl group thing and change it up. And it's pretty awesome. Um, and so, those tunes that Brian was always just, adjusting, doing Help Me Rhonda without an H for today, then moving on to Help Me Rhonda the single on Summer Days. He obviously, he just kept building on it, and it's awesome. I'm not telling you anything you didn't know. But Brian loves his riffs too. Short and Bread riff shows up in everything from Short and Bread to Metal Beach to Too Much Sugar to How Do We I just lost it. The Elton John song from Getting In Over My Head. How Can We Still Be Dancing? It just shows up everywhere. We all know Brian loves that. So anyway, Sunset Over the Water, which sounds like Daybreak Over the Ocean, just as a title. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with it. Adam took Some of Your Love, the dun 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 dun, dun some of your love, and turn that riff into a song, and it's awesome. It's very Beach Boys-esque. Obviously, it's on this album, and I love that riff. Brian used it for Child of Winter, Might Come Back to L.A., Some of Your Love. Mike transformed it in Summer of Love, whatever. So it's just really neat. But on to the live stuff. Adam and his band did some different tunes. A lot of some of the greatest hits, car songs, surfing songs, and they do, what they could with what they had. It's not Brian's band. They don't have every instrument out there, but it's great. They do Long Tall Texan, which is really cool. Nice little reference to older material and to the concert album. I love that Adam and his band make references to different Beach Boys stuff. Adam says something about must have been sitting on an uncomfortable seat, which I think is from like the Live in London album. And they make references, here and there, not a ton, but I mean, if I were up there, and knew that there were Beach Boy geeks out there, I wouldn't shut up, especially in the songs. I would start, riffing on other stuff, and it would just be ridiculous. But Adam's professional, and he does this. I'm actually quite jealous of his voice. It's like Adam's got a very everyday man's voice, but he's able to do falsetto without strain. And I'm just jealous that he's got such a great voice. His vocals on Please Let Me Wonder are so good. I mean, if you've heard any of his stuff, and like, the Carl and Dennis stuff, he has such a good voice. It works so well with that, and he has great falsetto. And they do Girl Don't Tell Me. This is also on disc 1, and I Can Hear Music. So it's really, it's got a lot of the greatest hits. Don't Worry Baby, Shut Down, 409, Catch a Wave, Do It Again. And it starts to get a little more hardcore. And speaking of Please Let Me Wonder, I was listening to it, and I honestly, before I was a hardcore Beach Boys fan, I can't believe I didn't know Please Let Me Wonder before. Like, I didn't know it till I bought the Beach Boys Greatest Hits Volume 2, 20 More Good Vibrations, which was the first CD I bought when I started to get into the Beach Boys. And, excuse me, that had so many ballads on it. In My Room, North of the Sun, Don't Worry Baby. It had all those, and I knew all those. And I knew Kiss Me Baby because of the Best of the Beach Boys 8-track my dad had, and which I felt like it's a lesser known song. But I never knew Please Let Me Wonder till I got that. And it's like, holy crap, I can't believe I didn't know that. that song. It's so good. The lyrics are so good. Disc 2, we already talked about Pet Squares. They do God Only Knows, which is a great cover. Caroline, no. I was listening to it today and I thought, this is very much, it doesn't start out with the percussion that but it starts out with "Where did your long hair go?" and it's very much like Carl's version on in concert. It reminded me of that from the double LP from '73. They do Heroes and Villains, incorporating Bicycle Rider. Reminds me very much of the in concert one as well. Very rocking. Surfs Up. I've heard Adam do that, and again, I'm just jealous. He can do that falsetto, reaching up that Collimated Ruins domino. It's great. One of the things I didn't love, they do Kokomo in here, and it's not that I don't love that song. I've really come to appreciate the song and get very nostalgic for it because hearing it as a kid and having still cruising. But it's with Steve Grigopoulos. I know I botched that name. And it starts out. It's really weird. They do Kokomo right after Surfs Up, and it starts out with this piano part. It's like do 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 do. And when I listen to it, I listen to it in the car. I don't have the track list right there, and so honestly, it feels like it goes on for a minute, just going do 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 do. A little bit of piano part, and I'm honestly like slightly annoyed that I don't know what song's coming up, and I keep thinking since they just did Smile Tunes that they're going to do like Vegetables, and and it's not that, and I don't have a problem with the cover of Kokomo, but for some reason that intro seems like it lasts a long time. Don't get me wrong, I like it. The intro just kind of bugs me. That's my only quip about this little live album. So take no offense to that if you're listening. Any of you who performed on this album, I obviously love it. It's just that part gets me. They do Aren't You Glad, which, seriously, second track from the Wild Honey album. I'm a fan. That's one of the deeper tracks that they do. Adam does the horn part. Just hearing the stuff on piano and not just the tracks you hear all the time. On the albums, it's really cool to hear a different part to it. And sorry, but anyway, Adam does the horn part with his voice. The da 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 da. And I've just always been an Aren't You Glad fan. They do Wild Honey and Marcella. Marcella, it's great. California Saga, Sail on Sailor. Rachel Wolf makes an appearance for Child of Winter. Which I believe she's the Rachel and the Reindeers from that single that came out a while ago that Alan Boyd and Steve Klinich were a part of, the Child of Winter thing. So it's really cool that they did that. I would say that's probably the deepest cut they do on this live album. You should look up a set list that he did because it's like, oh man, they did that. That's crazy. Towards the end, while they're singing "Ding Dong Dingo the Bells," Adam starts singing some of your love. It's pretty cool. Geeking out, of course. Dance Dance Dance, Barbara Ann, Good Vibrations, good stuff. They kind of go on with the Good Vibrations, like gotta keep those loving vibrations. It's good. It reminds you of those concerts in the late 70s and 80s that the Beach Boys would do that. And then they do Take Me to the Pilot. I'm going to be completely honest. I do not know that song. I don't know if it's an original, if it's a cover. I'd be surprised if it was a cover just because I would assume that they would have to pay a bunch for the other covers of the Beach Boys stuff that, that's just one more thing. So If you know what that song is, if it's a Adam Marsland original or somebody else's, let me know. I'm not really sure. So that's you may never hear surf music again. Um, then we have. I'm just gonna speak a little bit. I can't believe I'm already to the 15-minute mark about just a little bit, and it's been out for a while. A lot of this stuff has Jeffrey Foskett's "Stars in the Sand," and I'm just gonna highlight a few things that I enjoy. Again, that was just a copy of it, and I the few things that I really I always enjoy "Through My Window," and it always reminds me of I know there's an answer when I hear it when it starts. Um, I've always loved Fish. Uh, it's just I don't know. It just puts me in a good mood. Um, and his cover of the Sunrays "I Live for the Sun," which I heard for the first time on An American Family, the Beach Boys ABC two-parter. Um, that's what they played for the Sunrays playing. They had Jeff Foskett's version. Um, oh, "Hurting Each Other." I was going to point this out. This is I believe that's Carpenter's cover. But if you listen to this cut, and this is from 2004, excuse me, if you listen to this cut, to me it sounds like there's a lot of things I want, a lot of things that I like to do. Why can't I think of the name of that song? For Once in My Life. The backing track to "Hurting Each Other" on Jeff's album reminds me of Just Once in My Life. And it's like it's sung in that way. And I'll have to admit, I didn't know. I knew some of the Righteous Brothers stuff. You know, "You've Lost That Love and Feeling," um, "Unchained Melody," "Rock and Roll Heaven," but I actually did not know that song, "Just Once in My Life," um, until I heard the 15 Big Ones album, and everybody's like, "Oh, Carl and Brian do this awesome duet, and it's so good." And so I enjoy it from that. And then I finally got the Back to Mono box set, heard the Righteous Brothers version, which is so good as well. Obviously, Jeff loves this song, loves both songs, probably "Hurting Each Other" and "Just Once in My Life." So moving on from that, uh, Mickey Dolenz is, would that be the right plural? Anyway, Mickey Dolenz is "King for One Day" album. Jeff produced a cover of "Just Once in My Life," and it has Bill Medley and uh, Mickey on it, and it's a really good cover. You should look that up. I highly enjoy it. So obviously he really enjoys it. Um, Jeff does "Everything I Need," which Brian did with Tony Asher and his daughters. This would be my favorite version of this. I know there's some that come with the Paley bootleg and the Wilsons album and a couple of tributes, but I really love Jeff's voice on this. And then Brian comes in on the chorus, and then they have the uh, oh Sherry She Needs Me, kind of bouncing. Um, da 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 da. And so obviously that it's got that little riff in there. And then I love "Laughter in the Rain." It's like an all vocal version, and it's really good. I've always enjoyed that. That and "You're My Favorite Waste of Time." Um, moving on, we got some, as I would say, these are related artists and tributes. A while back, I got this for a gift, and I've been listening to it a lot lately. And here's what's on it if you don't have it. and I've just been thinking about it lately as to saying like how I feel about the cuts and whatnot. Or um, it's great to have Glenn Miller's version of Rhapsody in Blue. I have a Gershwin album or CD, and so, but I don't know who's performing it. And um, this is just kind of a shorter, not 17 minutes like that version. And it's just cool to kind of hear that classic version. Rock Around the Clock, we've got that. Everybody's got that American Graffiti soundtrack and whatnot. Um, it's great. I don't have any Four Freshmen albums. It's great to have It's a Blue World and The Hearts Were Full of Spring by the Four Freshmen. Um, I never knew It's a Blue World until Brian like sings it in one of his biographies. It's just a great vocal. And so Ivory Tower, never really knew that until Brian references it in his biography. We got the Holy Goalie, and actually, I never knew this version of When You Wish Upon a Star by Dion and the Belmonts. I only knew like the one for Pinocchio. So that's kind of cool. Kind of hear the Surfer Girl influence. Moving on, I believe the version of Miserlou, by Dick Dale, is like a live version that's on. Like I read on a review that it's from a live uh, Ed Sullivan show. And if you listen, you can tell it's not the version you hear at the beginning of Pulp Fiction. It's something different. And that's kind of off-putting. It's kind of weird. Louie Louie, you can hear the influence that they got with Mike going da 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 with Richard Berry's version. And another thing, and this was a criticism I saw on Amazon, and when I heard this, I was like, what are they doing? They have Be My Baby by the Ronettes, but it's, again, a live version. I guess it must have been cheaper to get that. That was on Ed Sullivan. Um, it's definitely not. It's definitely inferior of the studio track. If there was one track they were going to get right for this, it should have been Spector's studio cut with the Ronettes. Obviously Brian loves that ba 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 cha and the wall of sounds. You don't get the wall of sound with this, and it's a little like, oh, everyone knows that wall sound that Brian loves and we enjoy, obviously. That's one of my few criticisms of this album. Um, and it's nice. I actually never knew Hushabye until I heard the Beach Boys, so now I hear the original version. Um, I actually really prefer the Regents version of Barbara Ann to the Beach Boys. I feel like I've just heard the Beach Boys version too many times. Um, and then Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds is uh, a live version as well. And it's just kind of like, oh, come on. I actually didn't know Brian liked that tune. I didn't know if it was like an influence or he's actually said in years gone by, like, I, really like that Byrds tune. It's great to have the Kingston Trios, Wreck of the John B. Um, it's kind of weird. I wonder if Listen to Me would have, Buddy Holly's Listen to Me would have been on here if Brian didn't do that cover for the Buddy Holly tribute. I don't know. It's I didn't know if Brian really liked that. I mean, maybe he just picked it because he really liked it, or I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea. Um, so moving on to the last thing, becoming the Beach Boys. So it's a nice set. I've actually not read the booklet yet. Surprisingly, this has been sitting in my car, and uh, excuse me, and I've just not taken the time to read it. It's got a great booklet. I'm sure it's not a lot of new information to me or other hardcore fans, but nonetheless, it's cool to see. And there's a few new things on here. Uh, Of course, if you have Lost and Found or any of those others, the um, you have a lot of these. So I really love the cover though, or the CD of the cover. That reminds me of a Smile type thing. Um, and if you are wary about buying this, I got this for my birthday. Go listen to it on Spotify or something. Um, if you really want this stuff, it's different. I can listen to the Pet Sound Sessions, bootlegs, SOT, stuff like that. Sometimes I can't sit and listen to, let's see, 5 different versions of Judy. Take 1, take 2, overdub, takes 1 and 2, overdub, take 4, master, demo. Sometimes it's hard for me to sit through that. I don't hate the song. It's just sometimes I can't sit there and be like, oh, yes, I hear take 2 is a little bit different because this vocal wasn't there, or this vocal was taken away, or whatever. I can't hear that. I wish I was more intelligent to hear that type of thing. But sometimes it's like having the song on repeat for like 5 times. Now some are different. The take 1 is obviously different from the finished take, but sometimes there's some differences I don't really notice. I will say it's really cool that what is it? You're on a Young Girl Made Of. The demo is by Bruce Morgan. Um, it's really cool to hear that, a little piano and not a Beach Boys voice doing, not Brian's voice. Um, and I do enjoy some of that, like Luau. I do enjoy that song, but tracks 10 through 18 are all Luau, and it's kind of hard to go, sit there, especially if you're on your way to work and you want to hear a couple favorite songs before you go. It's hard to get pumped up listening to Luau 3 times in a row and not noticing a difference or only noticing a guitar solo added in. I do like the vocals on Lavender. Um, but anyway, I will say this is a really good set, and for those who are completists, especially if you've already got Lost and Found, but this is like a, you know, they're finally saying this is it. This is this is all of this stuff scooped into one. Um, and like I said, like I can listen to the Smile sessions and Pet Sound sessions and be able to tell the difference between take 1 and the master take. It's very different, and for some reason, and it's it's the Wrecking Crew working, and that stuff I could listen to for days. There's that "Wouldn't It Be Nice" track. It just goes on and on. The accordion, I just love that track in general. But I could just listen to it for such a long time. It's so deep and so emotional, and this stuff is, while I like it, it's guitar, some vocal stuff. It's the beginning. I don't find myself listening to the Beatles early stuff all the time. It's neat to hear, but it's in no way the Hard Days at Night album. It's not Rubber Soul. So, like I said, I may sound critical, um, but I also don't want to sound like I love and like everything that they do, because I pretty much do, but I have little criticisms here and there, which make things interesting. I'd love to hear what your criticisms are of the albums I have, or the albums I was talking about. Um, Let me know. Type up a comment. New subscribers, welcome. I will try to do something at least once a month. Um, I'm not getting new stuff. I mean, once you have a lot of things of Beach Boys, it's hard to get newer stuff when they don't release stuff all the time. Plus, I mean, I just don't have the money to go get it. I don't have the money to get the 4 or 5 CD set of summer music that PBS put out and Mike put some new tracks on. I just don't have that kind of money. If you want to donate it, I would gladly take it. But For a while, I'm probably just going to do some older stuff that I've been listening to. Would love to hear your criticisms, critiques, and comments. Comment, video response, whatever. Um, Hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a half hour, so if you watch this all in one sitting, you could have watched like a whole episode of, I don't know, Wonder Years, or I guess that's 20 minutes, but if you watch this all in one sitting, that's really impressive, and I'm proud of you. That's amazing. So take care, uh, be well, and I will see you on the flip side, hopefully at the end of November.